Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're telling the story of one single village, but we're starting at the literal beginning of everything. Yep, we're going from the Big Bang all the way to a small community in Thailand's Isan region called Bo Phan Khan.
I mean, think about it. How do you really tell the story of a place? Where do you even begin? With the people living there today? Their culture? Or do you zoom way out and start at the very beginning of time itself? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. All right, let's just dive right in. We are about to go on an absolutely epic journey. We're starting with the birth of the universe. Then we'll fast forward millions of years to see how this one patch of land was formed. And then, finally, we'll zoom right in on the first communities to ever call it home. You could say this is the ultimate origin story. So, way before any person ever set foot on this land, long before any empires rose or fell, you have to understand these immense geological forces were at work. They were literally setting the stage for everything that was to come, shaping human history for thousands of years. Okay, I want you to try and picture this. We're talking 135 million years ago. Dinosaurs are roaming the Earth, and this whole area, it's underwater. It's covered by this vast inland sea. And over time, as that sea dried up, it left something incredible behind, buried deep in the earth. Huge, massive layers of salt. And believe me, this one simple fact, this salt, it's the critical first chapter of this entire story. So this ancient past created a landscape that was, well, famously brutal. It got the name Thung Kula Ranghai, which means the crying Kula field. I mean, the name alone tells you everything you need to know, right? It speaks to the struggle of anyone who tried to cross it or grow things there. But here's the twist. Beneath that tough, dry surface, it was sitting on a treasure, the white gold of the ancient world, salt. Now, as you can imagine, a place with a harsh exterior but hidden wealth, it's not going to stay empty for long. This unique setting became the backdrop for the rise and fall of some truly great empires, and they were all fighting for one thing: control over that land and, of course, the precious salt beneath it. So for like over 1,000 years, this whole region was basically a giant chessboard for competing powers. First up, you had the Funan Kingdom. They were a maritime empire. Their power was all about controlling the sea trade from the coasts. But then the game changed. Power shifted inland to a new player, the Chenla Kingdom. And after them came the big one, the legendary Khmer Empire, whose influence just exploded across the region, giving us incredible wonders like Angkor Wat. And this wasn't just some abstract thing, it was a very real shift. As the historian Dr. Theda Saraya points out, the center of this new Chenla kingdom was a place called Wat Stu, a temple complex deep in the interior. This is so important because it wasn't just a new king taking over. The entire center of gravity for power in the region had moved. And when you put them side by side, you can really see the difference. Phanan was all about the ocean, right? Their whole deal was controlling ports and sea trade. But Chenla? Their power came from the land itself, from agriculture, from the people, and from those all-important salt deposits. Power had literally packed its bags and moved from the coast to the heartland. Okay, so after the Khmer Empire's golden age eventually faded, the chessboard was kind of wiped clean. A new chapter begins. This is when new groups of people, mostly Lao peoples, started moving in. They began founding their own cities, and really, they started to build the foundations of the culture that you see in the region today. The 1700s in particular were just a whirlwind of change. You see new Lao cities popping up, like Myang Sifum and Myang Suwarnashpum. But their story starts getting tangled up with another rising power to the south, Siam. And it gets so tangled that in 1783, thousands of Lao people, we're talking 5,000 of them, were brought from this region to physically build the new capital city of Siam, which you know today as Bangkok. And this connection wasn't just about nameless, faceless workers. It went all the way to the top. I mean, check out this incredible story about a woman named Hamwen Wen. She was the daughter of a local Lao leader, and she was brought to the Siamese court. Well, she became a favorite consort of the man who would become King Rama I. Apparently, she had this really bold, fierce personality, so they nicknamed her Hunsua, the Lady Tiger. And she used that influence to help her own family and people, directly helping her father establish the major city of Hankan. What a story, right? Then we get to the 19th century, and a whole new player enters the game: European colonialism, specifically the French. Their arrival on the scene puts massive pressure on Siam.
It basically forces the kingdom to get organized, to centralize its power, draw firm lines on a map, and in doing all that, create a whole new identity for the people living in this northeastern region. And, we actually get this fascinating little snapshot of what this looked like on the ground, thanks to the journal of a French explorer named Etienne Aymenet. Back in 1884, he wrote down the exact taxes that the central government in Bangkok was demanding from the people here. It's like a receipt showing us just how much control was tightening. And this wasn't just some abstract policy written down somewhere. This was real. People felt it. They had to pay taxes in both cash and rice. And the amount of wealth flowing out was just staggering. From this one area alone, something like 60 kilograms of silver was being sent to Bangkok every single year. You can see how the local economy was being plugged directly into the national one like a cable. So this whole process really came to a head in 3 key moves. Step 1, Siam reorganizes how it administers its Lao territories. Step 2, a huge crisis with France in 1893 forces Siam to give up all of its land east of the Mekong River. Ouch. So step 3, in response, Siam had to double down on the territory it had left. To solidify control and create a new unified identity, the court officially rebrands the region. The name Lao is out, and the new name, Isan, which just means northeast, is in. Just like that, a brand new regional identity was created, all because of this intense geopolitical pressure. All right, so now we hit the 20th century, and the new region of Isan gets absolutely catapulted into the modern world. And the speed of this change is just breathtaking. It was a time of incredible progress, for sure, but it was also an era of deep, profound political conflict and turmoil. I mean, the pace of change was just dizzying. Think about this. In 1900, the first railway line hits the region, and boom, the economy is transformed overnight. A few decades later, in 1932, the country's absolute monarchy ends. A few years after that, Siam is officially renamed Thailand. And by the 1960s, you've got massive government development plans building roads, dams, schools. A completely new world was taking shape in just a couple of generations. But all this progress, it had a dark side. The political struggles of this era were incredibly intense, and sometimes they were just plain brutal. In 1949, for example, there was this tragic incident where 4 opposition politicians, and one of them was from right here in this region, were assassinated by the police. It's just a stark, sobering reminder of the violence that was happening right alongside all that development.
And this brings us full circle, all the way back to our little village, Phan. And what's so cool is that its modern story is like a perfect miniature version of the entire country's story. It gets officially established in 1950. During the 70s, it's targeted by those big development projects trying to finally tame that old crying field. By the 1990s, it's become famous for producing world-class jasmine rice. And fast forward to today, it's plugged into the global digital economy, with food delivery apps on motorcycles zipping down its streets. Amazing. So, from an ancient sea to fallen empires, to the birth of a modern nation, and right into the digital age, what we've seen is that the story of this one small village is, in a way, the story of everything. It's just such a powerful reminder that real history isn't only written in the grand palaces of kings and capitals, it's also written in the land itself, in the very salt of the earth.